Hello, I am Leslie here in Montana, and I am talking with Diana Noch in
hmm
Oregon, my sister state almost. As I say, you're just a hop, skip, and a jump away because you're in Eugene, right?
No, I am in Bend. Bend is popular from all over the world for the fact that you can ski. It's called pole paddle pedal or something like that. Anyways, you ski, you kayak, and you bike ride all in the same day.
I heard that you work with different medium. What was your first medium that you started out with?
With dolls, it was paper mache. And I made my own paper mache.
Explain a little bit when you make your own. What were you using?
I was using napkins that were rather soft, cheap, but soft. Can't remember the exact formula because it's over 30 years ago. Some sort of a paste medium. It was all stuff that would not get moldy. I found somewhere formula to make the paper mache myself. What I did was I made the dolls all their parts first. They were separate parts, the head, the body, the arms, the hands, and the feet, and all that. They were all separate parts. They were made with Palestine clay. I think that's how you call it. It's kids' clay that kids don't use anymore because it's messy, greasy. It never cooks. It never dries. It never dries out, any of that. I made the forms that way. Then I made a plaster Paris mold, a two-part plaster Paris. Had to be careful not to have undercuts. Put the pulp in. Then when it was dry, put the two parts together with gesso, sand and gesso until it looked like porcelain.
This here is your first character that you were talking using that method.
Yes, yes. And the glass eyes are marbles that were my mom. And I embroidered his shirt.
This here is where you put the pulp into the mold and then put them two together, then is what you're saying.
Yes. Then sand it, painted it so it had skin color.
Are you saying that this is kind of like a ball joint?
It's like a marionette. See the little ball on the top of his hat? That's a string. His mouth does move. It's like a fishing hook sinker strung up. The rest was just left as flippy floppy doll.
What got you started with wanting to even get into making the dolls?
Because my kids, I made marionettes out of cloth, made a theater in the backyard, charged kids to come and see it. I loved painting. I wanted something that takes longer and has a good result. That's how I start. It takes a long time to make one of those dolls. That gave me time to create and spend the time without spending a lot of money. Then my mom passed away. My sister said, "There's some clay here." And I said, "Well, I've never tried that. It's oven baked clay?" She said, "Yeah." That's when I started into polymer.
So basically using your marionette techniques, but now you're using polymer.
Yes. Then I switched over to what they call ball jointed dolls because that's a little bit more intricate.
This is where you're saying this is ball jointed in here then.
Yes.
You make the wigs and the costumes and everything.
I make everything. Yeah, she's a steampunk gal.
So you going into polymer, what did that open you up to then?
Oh, it opened up the fact that I only had one step, creating the doll. Didn't start with ball jointed dolls. I started with full figure dolls. I lost some of them when I moved from Ohio to Oregon. I lived in Ohio my majority of my life. I was 200 pounds. That was 2010. So 2011, my daughter said, you've got to come or you're going to be gone. So I got off of oxygen for till now. I just got back on it. The high desert helped my health and I lost weight.
I've always had a love for dolls with even starting out with the marionettes then.
I've always had a love for dolls. I like portrait, but I never could get a portrait to look like somebody. But at least it was a start that they would be characters. I'd do the best I could. Most of them, they ended up being ball jointed for quite a while. I kept trying to get them to stand, and the darn little devils wouldn't. The more I think about it, the less I like the ball jointed thing. But I was determined. I kept trying and trying. I even tried cosplay. I did one doll with that. She still didn't stand.
You mean you tried it with the ball joint?
Yes, with that clay. That clay is sticky. It's a little difficult.
Perfect. That's what you're working with now then.
I'm going to try to make skeleton hands with it. I'm working on a skeleton guy. Karen Baker did a thing on making a skeleton man. I got the course. I like to support other artists. I like the way she works. She worked with Jack Johnson, who I originally found on the internet, decided what I would do. Instead of all the other crafts, I had a gazillion crafts. I did knitting, crocheting, drop needle, weaving to make the wool into a yarn. I did that. I said, I need to get one thing. Dolls give me painting, sculpting, and creating in 3D because I don't create as well in 2D, and do the costuming.
The dolls are the perfect platform to bring all of those hobbies in to allow them to shine. You dabbled in paper mache.
She's paper mache. I painted her all white, and the wig actually comes off. A Japanese, the geisha girl, has straight hair, jet black. That's why I use that. I created the wig on her with a piece of saran wrap to cover her head. Then I did Mod Podge and a little netting to make the wig cap so it comes off.
What's your favorite medium to work in for hair?
My favorite medium is Tahitian lamb's wool that comes on the skin, or alpaca.
Where do you get your alpaca?
There's an alpaca farm that's close to me that I can get it. More is more. Natasha is her name, her first name. She's on eBay. She has a big store.
Do you feel like you did quite a bit of your learning your process through the online?
That's where I've learned it mostly. Jack Johnson, when I first wanted to do stuff, my husband passed. It was 1999, and I really wanted to get into doll making more with polymer clay instead of the paper mache. I found him first, and I met him at one of the doll shows. What a sweet man.
How did you get into the IDR?
Through Patricia Rose. Loretta, her web manager, she was running it. I was in a guild. Loretta mentored me in making a 5.5-inch tall doll that turned out absolutely beautiful. Loretta was running it, and then Deb Wood took over. I'm 81 now and lots of health issues. I don't sell my dolls. I make my dolls. I make a lot of them. I've given them away. I used to sell at a place that was a consignment. There was like 250 artists. I sold to teachers that bought my rod puppets. They were made of rod, like the Muppets. Only they were full bodied. You could move the hands, and they were rather cute, I thought. She bought them for her class, for her children to use them as if they did an oral book report. If they didn't use them, they couldn't play with them as just to play with them. They had to use them to do an oral report.
Great incentive.
I was a clown too. I made a clown that was like a Muppet and a hand. I did that for multiple sclerosis. Anyway, there was a little kid there that was afraid of clowns. I started talking to the guy. I didn't know he was afraid of clowns. She came to me later. She said, you broke his fear of clowns. He's not afraid so much anymore. Mm-hmm. That was another fun adventure that I did.
So you've worked in paper mache and you've worked in polymer. Was there another medium that you said that you worked in with the dolls?
Well, it was a little bit of latex and foam rubber to make the puppet that I did for the clown.
Not easy either to work with.
You know how they do the Muppets and they put them together in hot glue. Boy, I burnt myself I don't know how many times. I said, this is probably not my medium. So I switched. Went back to polymer. And I do resin. I do it for jewelry and things like that.
So have you made your eyes in resin yet?
No, I keep thinking I will. I have all the stuff I need. I just haven't jumped into it because I'm afraid. I have stuff from my husband was a tool and die maker, so I have diamond paste.
How would you use that?
That it'll pumice off your scratches. I sand my dolls. I use it to smooth it all out.
This is kind of like a paste that's a jewelry.
Yeah. He works making carbide nuts and bolts. It'll smooth out and take out the dirt, some of the dirt. Like alcohol can take a lot of the clay away. If you get crazy, you can make your clay all sticky and icky, and you can really mess up your piece, especially if it's small. So the diamond dust doesn't do that. I used it when the doll was finished instead of having to be so precise and getting her nice and smooth. He gave caliper measuring things. I use that because I see lopsided. So it helps me to keep the eyes not,
Use that for measuring the eyes for your placement, is what you're saying.
To make sure that they're okay.
Would you say that's your favorite tool that you need to use for your doll making, or do you have something else that's your favorite tool?
Oh, no, I have many favorite tools. I have so many tools that it would scare anybody. Oh, this one is fun. This is the 3-in-1 tool from Jack Johnson. Use it. This is for the ears. I've been using it on this little guy that I'm working on because it's a spoon type. What do you call these? They're silicone, I think. I think Sculpey sells these. There's 3 different sizes. I use ball stylus. This is my favorite. See how tiny they are?
Yes. Now, what do you use that for?
Mostly around the eyes and in the nose so that it doesn't become a big piggy nose, crumples or whatever you want to call them. And it draws. Yeah, I have a gazillion different ball styluses, and they fit in whatever area that I'm working. I look for the one that fits the best. That's it. Of course, I have a tiny, smaller blade. Every doll you make, you should have a new blade, sharp as it possibly can be. I think I got maybe 5 of these. They're different ones. They're wooden. This one has a flat edge.
And is that for what?
I use it for smoothing out. It's got it's flat, but it curves just the tiniest bit at the end. This one is absolutely perfect. It's a paddle like. You can push and move gently without moving your clay too much. But every time you move the clay, it has a counter reaction. It has to go somewhere. Careful what you're doing. Otherwise, you change the look of everything. The more tools I have, the more excited I get, because then I say, oh, I can use that for this and that. Oh, where is that tool? I can't find it. Of course, I have, I guess, 5 little glasses like that full of tools, plus the ones that are on my table.
So now, do you find, because now you pretty much dropped doing the paper mache, right? So you're strictly in polymer, right?
I really do the polymer now. Yeah. I used to, well, the paper mache, I switched over to what you call paper clay. This is ready to sculpt. You got to keep it moist, ready to sculpt. I sculpted those dolls are from this product. This is a very nice product. There's another one that's not as nice, but's good for not intricate work, but maybe bodies and legs and parts that are not intricate. That's a whole nother learning curve with paper clay because you have to add water as you're going because it'll dry out. But you can't add too much or else it'll be mush.
This one here is out of the paper clay.
Yes, she is. And she's about 6 inches tall. Then there's a pair of shoes on the chair with her. The wings I did not make. I made everything else except for the tiara. I made that paper clay gal, her shoes. It's fun.
Is if you had to share something with somebody else, as far as from your experience, what would you give them for inspiration?
Inspiration is you think you can't do it, but if you give it a try, you just might be able to do it. I didn't think I could do it, especially the ball jointed doll. I thought that was such a challenge, and I've made 5 or 6 of them. They don't stand, but I attempted it and did it, and it's all in the doing. It's not how it comes out, really. It's in the doing. Sometimes you get a great piece, sometimes not so much, but you keep going and keep enjoying the journey that you're on. You're on a journey. Enjoy it.
That's pretty much the way I feel like it's the process that's the interesting part, not necessarily the product.
Not necessarily the finished product. Thankfully, I don't have to make a living with it. Now, if you have to make a living, then you have to begin to think what other people like and what will sell. And I'm not there, but a lot of people can do that and do that. The other thing is, if you think you can't do it, you probably can. You don't know until you try it. If you're interested enough to try it, most likely you will master it. Sometimes it takes a while, and each clay has a different feel to it. So it's like the paper clay, the polymer clay. I like Pro Scout because I don't like all the other ones. It listens to me. When I say I want you to do this, it does it. Just keep moving, just keep pushing on, and don't give up, because as soon as you give up, you'll never know if you could have done it.
The doll making gives you an opportunity to learn things about yourself that you may never have known.
Yeah. And somebody said I make my dolls looking like me. I said, I don't think so.
But the thing is, an artist there, you can't help but put something of yourself in everything you make. I figured that's the essence of your artist, is what that passion that you put into the doll.
Yeah, when somebody can see your piece and know you did it, that's the ultimate. And that's what people have said to me, that they recognize my doll and that they're mine. I think I made it. I found my niche.
Thank you for joining me, Diane.
Thank you for having me.